Carl Jung once said, "Your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakes." This idea, that awakening comes from within, is not just a poetic phrase. It's a challenge, a call to confront the hidden parts of ourselves, not to judge them, but to understand them. Most people go through life reacting. They react to pressure, to pain, to praise, to failure. But Jung believed that to truly live, we must not just react, we must reflect. We must become aware of who we are beneath the surface. Because real strength doesn't come from what you show the world. It comes from what you learn about yourself when no one is watching. This is where growth begins, not in the spotlight, not in applause, but in silence, in stillness. Every human being carries a shadow, Jung believed, not evil, but unconscious. These are the traits we deny, the thoughts we suppress, the feelings we hide. But Jung wasn't telling us to fear the shadow. He was telling us to explore it, because within the shadow is power. And when you face what you've avoided, you become whole. You stop chasing validation. You stop playing roles. You start living in truth. And truth is magnetic. Truth inspires. You don't need to be perfect to be powerful. You need to be honest with yourself. Carl Jung said, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." Let that sink in. You are not your past. You are not your mistakes. You are what you do next. What you learn, how you respond, what you choose to build with what you've been given. You are not stuck. You are being shaped. Even your hardest moments are shaping you, not to break you, but to prepare you. You are being carved by life into something sharper, stronger, clearer, but it only works if you participate. If you take responsibility for your inner world. Blaming the world is easy. Blaming people is easy. But empowerment comes when you look in the mirror and say, "I still have work to do." And that's okay. Because the work is not punishment. The work is freedom. You don't need to know exactly where you're going, but you do need to take the next step. The journey toward wholeness isn't a straight line, it's a spiral. You'll revisit the same emotions, the same patterns, the same fears. But each time you do, you'll be wiser, stronger, less reactive. Healing doesn't mean avoiding pain, it means understanding it, transforming it. Carl Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." Think about that. If you don't know what's guiding you, if you don't know what old wounds or limiting beliefs are behind your decisions, then your life will feel out of control. It will feel random. But when you bring light to your unconscious, you reclaim your power. You stop repeating cycles. You stop blaming luck or fate, and you start building something real. This is not about toxic positivity. This is not about pretending everything is okay. It's about standing in the middle of your chaos and saying, "I'm not running anymore." That's what courage is. It's not loud. It's quiet. It's internal. It's the decision to face yourself, to admit your flaws, and still believe you're worthy of love, growth, and purpose. You don't need to erase your shadow to grow. You need to integrate it. Own it. The parts of yourself you're most afraid to look at are often the exact places your power is hiding. And if you feel lost right now, that's okay. Because every transformation begins with disorientation. When the old you is no longer enough, and the new you hasn't fully arrived. That space in between, that's the birthplace of change. Stay there. Don't rush it. Because transformation is not always loud. Sometimes it's a whisper, a decision, a new level of honesty. And if no one claps for you, clap for yourself. Because this work is invisible. But it's the most important work you'll ever do. Right now is your chance to take action. Pause this video. Take a moment to breathe. And ask yourself, what am I avoiding? What emotion am I afraid to feel? What truth am I ready to face? Write it down. Speak it out loud. Do something. Don't just consume this. Use it. Because Carl Jung didn't study the human mind just to sound smart. He did it to help people wake up, to help people become whole, not perfect, whole, and you're capable of that, more than you know. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need to fix everything in one day. You just need to be willing to look inside. That's where the answers are. That's where the clarity begins. Most people run their whole lives. They run from fear, from silence, from truth. They fill the void with noise, with distraction, with endless doing. But Carl Jung taught that true power comes from stillness, from sitting with the unknown, from not needing everything to be certain. Because growth doesn't always come from doing more. Sometimes it comes from doing less. Less pretending, less hiding, less lying to yourself. Every time you choose to face a hard truth, you gain freedom. Every time you stop blaming and start owning, you build strength. And this strength isn't loud. It's not ego-driven. It's quiet, grounded. It doesn't scream for attention. It stands firm, calm. This is the kind of person you're becoming. Not someone who needs to be seen, but someone who is deeply seen by themselves. Someone who knows who they are, even if no one else understands them. You are allowed to change. You are allowed to evolve. You are allowed to outgrow the version of you that settled, that played small, that stayed silent. You are not here to play a role. You are here to become real. And being real is messy. It's emotional. It's uncomfortable. But it's worth it. Because what's the alternative? Living a life based on other people's expectations? Wearing a mask until you forget who you are? You're too powerful for that. And you know it. Carl Jung said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." Let that echo. Because it's not just a quote. It's a mission, a path, a responsibility. To become who you truly are, you have to let go of who you pretend to be. You have to stop clinging to outdated identities. Stop shrinking to make others comfortable. Stop hiding your truth to avoid discomfort. This isn't easy, but it's necessary. Because the pain of growth is far lighter than the weight of regret. And the world doesn't need more copies. It needs more originals. More people living from the inside out. More people willing to walk the path within. And you, right now, you are on that path. You've already started. You're not broken. You're unfolding. Every scar you carry tells a story of survival. Every mistake was a lesson in disguise. You are not behind. You are exactly where you're supposed to be. Jung believed that the soul has a natural urge to grow, to evolve, to become whole. That's why you feel restless when you avoid your inner truth. That's why the distractions don't satisfy you. Because your deeper self is calling you to stop pretending, calling you to come home to yourself. You may think you're broken, but what if you're just buried under years of conditioning, buried under fear, buried under shoulds and supposed tos? It's time to dig, to rediscover the parts of you that got silenced, the passion you buried, the voice you quieted, the dreams you dismissed. Those pieces still live inside you. They're waiting for your permission to come back to life, and you don't need to explain it to anyone. This journey is yours. It's sacred. It's not meant to be validated by the crowd. Carl Jung didn't say, "Become what others want." He said, "The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely." That's the challenge, and that's the reward. Because once you accept yourself, not just the good parts, but the ugly parts, the insecure parts, the chaotic parts, that's when you finally feel peace. Not because life is perfect, but because you are no longer fighting yourself. That's the real war. And that's the real victory. You can't outrun your shadow. You can only turn and face it. And in doing so, you find your strength, not the strength to dominate, but the strength to integrate, to bring every part of you into alignment, into harmony. You are not here to be divided. You are here to be whole, and you have what it takes. Even when it feels hard, even when it feels like no one understands. You are not alone on this path. Many have walked it before you, and many will follow you. So lead by example. Choose truth over comfort. Choose growth over ease. Choose yourself, fully, fearlessly, unapologetically. Because the world doesn't need your mask, it needs your essence, your light. There is no map for the inner world, no GPS for the soul. But you don't need a perfect path. You just need the courage to take the first step, even if it's shaky, even if it's slow. Every time you choose self-awareness over avoidance, you grow. Every time you choose reflection over reaction, you evolve. And that's what life is offering you. Not perfection, but progress. You don't need to rush. This is not a race. It's a return. A return to who you were before the world told you who to be. Carl Jung believed in individuation, the process of becoming your true self. Not the self shaped by others, not the self that fits in, but the self that is real, the self that is rooted, the self that is free. That process doesn't happen overnight. It happens in the quiet choices, in the hard decisions, in the honest reflections. And sometimes it looks like falling apart. But that's not destruction. That's reconstruction. That's rebirth. The pieces of your old life don't have to go to waste. They can become the foundation of your new self. Not something to be ashamed of, but something to honor, because it all mattered. Every high, every low, every detour. It all brought you here, where you have the power to choose, to build, to evolve. And if you still doubt yourself, good. That means you're thinking. That means you care. That means you're alive. But don't let doubt stop you. Let it sharpen you. Let it challenge you to rise. Because there's something in you that cannot be broken. Something deeper than fear. Stronger than insecurity. Wiser than your past. That something is your essence. And it's untouched. Unshaken. Unmovable. The world may try to cover it up, but it cannot erase it. And the more you return to that truth, the more powerful you become. Not because you've conquered life, but because you've accepted it, lived it, embraced it. You are not your mistakes. You are not your past. You are the awareness that sees it all, the consciousness that learns, that grows, that chooses again. You don't need to be perfect to begin. You only need to be present, to be willing. Every day, life invites you to come closer to yourself, to drop the mask, to break the pattern, to trust the quiet voice inside. That voice is not your ego, it's your soul, and it's been speaking to you this whole time, even in the silence, especially in the silence. Carl Jung believed that healing begins the moment you listen, not just to what's outside of you, but to what's within. The fears you avoid are lessons in disguise. The emotions you suppress are teachers. And when you finally stop running, they stop chasing. Because they were never there to punish you. They were there to reveal you. You were never broken. You were buried. And every step you take towards self-honesty, every decision to feel instead of flee, is a resurrection. You are not falling apart. You are falling into place. And the journey of becoming is never a straight line. It's a spiral. You'll revisit old wounds, old doubts, old fears. But each time, you'll bring more awareness, more light, more strength. You are not who you were yesterday. You're wiser, stronger, more awake, and that's something to celebrate. Not in arrogance, but in quiet confidence. The kind that comes from doing the inner work, from facing what most people avoid. That is bravery. That is growth. That is power. Look at how far you've come. Not just in what you've done, but in who you're becoming. You've faced shadows most won't even name. You've walked through pain and kept going. You've questioned everything and still chose growth. That's not weakness. That's courage. That's what real strength looks like. Carl Jung said, "Your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakes." And you are awakening. Not to a fantasy, but to the deepest truth of who you are. No more hiding, no more shrinking, no more waiting for permission. You are allowed to be powerful. You are allowed to be whole. You are allowed to walk your path even if no one understands it. Because this life is not about living small. It's about expansion. It's about evolution. It's about becoming someone you're proud to know. And that journey begins every single day with a choice to listen to your truth, to live from your center, to trust your inner wisdom. You're not here to escape yourself. You're here to embrace yourself, to discover that every flaw is part of your art, every wound, a source of your compassion, every scar, proof that you survived, and you're still rising. You've already made it through so much, and there's so much more waiting for you. Not more pain, but more depth, more joy, more freedom. Your story isn't over. It's just beginning. So keep going, keep healing, keep evolving. And if this message resonated with you, if it stirred something in your soul, drop a comment. Let someone else know they're not alone, and make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Because more people need to hear this. More people need to remember who they are. And you can be the spark that helps them do it. Thank you for watching, and more importantly, thank you for being you, exactly as you are, and exactly as you're becoming.